Hey guys, so there's a lot of craziness going on right now. Obviously, a lot of us need to stay confined and stay safe and focus on health more than anything, both of ourselves as well as people around us. But I wanted to just bring this up in terms of where we are at as artists. I think that in a lot of ways we're quite fortunate that we are in an industry that doesn't require us to rely on congregation. In other words, if you own a restaurant, if you own a bar, if you are someone that needs traffic to be coming through, then that's going to drastically affect you. And obviously, health is a bigger issue. I feel worse for the people who are actually sick right now. Now, for us though, with what we do, the world is always going to need artists. The world is always going to need visual effects. It's going to need video games. It's going to need design, commercials, TV. And that's one thing that a lot of us are looking to right now is like we're looking to be distracted from TV, from video games, from movies in general. And that is something that isn't going to ever go away. It's not like, the industry is going to shut down or something like that. If you look at the movies that have been postponed, there are very few have been canceled. It's mostly just things have been postponed. So the way I see that is more of an influx that there's going to be a lot of projects bottlenecked once we kind of move into the clear. In other words, all the movies that were scheduled to shoot, as well as the ones that were pushed back, are all going to happen, and there's going to be a huge, big need for visual effects people in general. Now, in terms of what's been going on right now, that's a whole other thing. I know people who are working on Call of Duty from home, so you're looking at a $150 million video game. In fact, there's my Call of Duty signed thing from the whole team, and everyone's working on that. Everyone's just working from home, and it just shows that there is a bit of a change happening. But I don't think it's something that, if anything, is more just temporarily disruptive. And when we look at video games film. If you look at, let's say, Black Widow as a good example, that's a Marvel movie, a Disney movie that all the artists are working from home. And I feel like Disney is the pinnacle of security. And the fact that there are major studios working on that film and many other movies too. I'm just using that one as an example. I was chatting with a buddy of mine this morning who's working on that from home, and the whole thing's going smoothly. So it shows that there's plenty of work going on right now as well. I don't think that that's really ever going to drastically change. If you look at like Steam, for instance, last night there was 20 million active users on Steam. So a lot of us are turning to Netflix, to Steam, to video games for a distraction. And I feel like that's what we do in art is we are a distraction for a lot of people. We entertain people, we make them laugh and smile and forget about some of the stressful times that we can be going through. And there's always going to be some of these times like there are right now. So that to me means that we are a pinnacle part of the industry. But it also means that, like I said, right now there is still plenty of work being going on. The way that I see it, and this is just my opinion, I was talking with Autodesk this morning at a meeting, and Montreal, a few other cities like that, like people are still kind of going through this adjustment period of, I guess, being in denial that like, hey, this is all a hoax. It'll go away, and it isn't. For the foreseeable future, things are going to change. But my opinion on this is that the next couple of weeks are going to be a disruptive pattern. In other words, there's going to be a lot of people who are just not really sure what is going on, and this is more of a priority than anything else. But the show must go on in terms of we all have work responsibilities in life. So whether we are already adapting to that lifestyle change, it's going to be more in the coming weeks that's going to change a lot more drastically, I think. So I think that a lot of people are going to get back to business. They're going to look at, well, hey, we got shows to do, we got commercials to do, we still got to make money and do what we do. So what does that mean for us? How are we going to get by? And I think at that point, so 2 weeks from now, that's when there's going to be a bit of a shift, and people will be starting to look to hire people, but more than likely working remotely rather than working in a studio for now. And that whole thing, is something that will change over time, but I think that's important to be aware of right now too, because I think that we've got three different options as artists what we can do. We can either watch TV and hang out and take our mind off of things, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay to be doing. But there are going to be some of us that decide, well, I want to keep working. And it's more of a matter of just adapting that mindset, looking for work online. And for instance, like everyone in my upcoming live action series class, I'm going to put out a bonus workshop about teaching people how to work online. But I also want to put out some videos specifically around that on YouTube as well, just more kind of touching on some of the subjects that I think are really important. But that to me is a critical thing that I think that we need to adjust. We need to start thinking about, well, how do I get clients? How do I set myself up to be able to work remotely? What are the expectations, and what's a better workflow for doing that? So I think that is really critical, but it's, I think, what we need to do to continue to do what we're working on right now. The third option is to use this time to leverage that to get something from it. In other words, to invest back in ourselves and to learn. So in other words, if you have downtime right now, you can choose to be entertained and be distracted. Like I said, that's okay. Or you can use this as a chance to learn and have some self-growth. Something that you can look back on as a new life skill that you're going to have for the rest of your life, that's going to allow you to be able to do more, to better your career, and to leverage something from all the bad that's going on. In other words, to turn a negative into a positive. So whether it is doubling down on books and reading and learning a new skill that way, whether it's doing paid courses or whether it's doing free training online on YouTube or wherever else, there are plenty of options out there and plenty of opportunities for you to be able to leverage. And think about the goals that you have, the things that you always tell yourself, I don't have enough time, or I would totally do that if only I had more time. Look at this as a reset. Look at this as a chance for you to take a step back and say, well, now I have the time. How do I want to utilize that? How do I want to use this as a way that I can leverage for the rest of my life with a new skill, a new talent, a new ability, something that's going to allow me to go out into the world in a couple of months and be able to either command more fees or have new opportunities that I didn't have before. So that's the option for you, whether you want to work from home or whether you want to learn or whether you want to use this time to be distracted in the other ways that long-term aren't going to have that benefit. So I think that the actions and the decisions that we make right now affect us for the rest of our lives. And this is a chance for you to still be distracted, but to look at ways you can leverage that to grow that long-term skill and really focus on self-growth and look at that opportunity now for doing something positive when we have all of this other stuff going on around us. I hope you stay safe. I hope you still have moments to smile and laugh and to be around the people you care about. And if anything, health and safety is the most important thing. But I also want you to think about what you can do for yourself for the long term once we get through all this, once we've veered the storm and got further away from all the stuff that we're going through. So I wish you well, and I hope you and your loved ones are all safe and everything is going okay. But think about the three options you have about utilizing this time for your benefit.